Okay, so what is so severe about the law of a sota? That it's compared to the Jewish people doing sins. Any sin, no matter what. Even the smallest sin. And the smallest sin. Well, let's sort of eliminate the word sin over here, all right? Because sin is sort of giving a wrong impression. And the idea is talking about here is not doing what your creator wants you to do. In other words, being separate from the creator of the universe. How can you separate yourself from the creator of the universe? He's creating you all the time. How could you be separate? If you were separated from the creator, you would stop being created, right? He says, yeah, that's a good point, right? But God made it that you're not. That you can separate yourself from the creator of the universe, do the opposite of what God wants, and God still keeps creating you all the time. On one hand, it's really good because that gives you a chance. On the other hand, it's really bad because it also gives you a chance to keep sinning and saying, I can do what I want. That's the way it is with any human being. With the Jew, it's even more so because the Jews have a deep inner relationship with God that we're called the wives of God. At Mount Sinai, God married us. So in a marriage, a woman really has to be faithful. Right? It's bad in business if somebody is not faithful, if somebody doesn't keep his word. In business, or your next door neighbor, tells you, tomorrow I'll let you have the lawnmower back, and he doesn't. That's not good. But if a wife does that to her husband, then it's really bad. That's really bad. Same thing with a husband to a wife, but God always keeps his word to the Jewish people. So the problem is not coming from him. The problem is coming from us. So that's why it's so severe. Because by means of doing a sin, you're not just separating yourself from your creator, and God says, listen, part of the laws of creation are you can do that and I'll let it go. You're separating yourself from your husband. That's a deep inside relationship, which a husband to a wife, it could be that he'll even, let's say, stay married to her, but the love will be gone. She's not a faithful wife. Bad news. Ne'amar, it says in the Zohar, let's turn the page, it says in the Zohar, Shephilosof Shal Rabbi Eliezer. It said, the philosopher asked Rabbi Eliezer, because you Jews are the highest people, you're supposed to be the choice of the people, as why is it that you're so delicate? The Jews are so delicate, you can't eat this, you can't do this, and he said, exactly because of that, because we're the highest of people, therefore there are more regulations. For instance, a janitor, I'm just saying this, a janitor, if he makes a mistake, not such a big deal. A brain surgeon makes a mistake, it's a big deal. A janitor makes a very small mistake, it's absolutely nothing. A brain surgeon makes a small mistake, it's a tremendously bad thing. So the same thing, the Jewish people, because they're like the brains of the world, so therefore they have many more regulations, much more is expected from them. Davar zeh, this thing, we did this already in class. Davar zeh, this thing, second paragraph. Hu kedugma shehuz b'mamaimer, this is what it says in the Ma'amar, in Bati Lagani, in another year. It says, Shelamrot, that even though Eitzel Umat Olam, that by the non-Jews, Ein Karu Le Elokai the Kalakaya Nechshav Lamarida, if the non-Jews say that God is the God of gods, in other words, they pray to the sun or the moon, or they pray to a person, and they say that this person is just a mediary between God and them, it's not a bad sin. They're not supposed to do it. But it's not considered to be a rebelling against God. Our Yehudi, but a Jew, because he is higher, Naso b'kol avera, even the small sin, even if he doesn't deny God, is called nifrad betachlit, it's called totally separate from God. Yoter mi klipa v'sitra achra, even more than the klipa in the Sitra Achra. It was if a non-Jew totally denies that God has anything to do with the world. A non-Jew says God created the world 5,000, 5 million, whatever it is years ago, and now he left it in the world in the hands of some person or some star or some force or some whatever. And God is not involved intimately with the world anymore. So a non-Jew is not supposed to do that. It's forbidden for him to do. But if he does it, he's not transgressing a sin. Because you can't expect any more from a non-Jew. They haven't got this intimate connection with God, which is not the case of a Jew. A Jew has an intimate connection with God. And for a Jew to say that, I'm going to pray to God through the stars, through this person, through this whatever, it's considered to be a very big sin. Yisrael domim l'leiv. The Jews are similar to the heart. Ukashem shalev, just like the heart, because it is the choice of all the limbs. Eno sovel pasolos. It cannot take any waste, negative things. Afilu daka, the daka, even the smallest. Kach Yisrael also daka. Also the Jews. Bezeh tuvan hasheichus, a hole, for instance, a tiny hole in the heart. Bezeh tuvan hasheichus ben kististe le'en adam over avera. Now we can understand why this principle of a Jew can never do a sin unless he becomes insane is so connected to the sin of the unfaithful wife. Yisrael, the Jewish people, are God's wife. Kodesh Baruch Hu Baal, God is the husband, Yisrael and Isha, and they are the wife. V'zeh kol hazmanim. These are all the times, even at the time of exile. The difference is now and the future is now God is called by name of Baal. He is called husband, my husband, or you say the boss. The ilu la'atid, like a Baal Abayat. The atid in the future, Ish, he will be called my, I want to call it husband, my beloved. Commotion, like it says, the Jewish people, when the Jewish people say, God, you have divorced me, and God will say, Eze sefer krisos yemochem, have you seen a divorce bill? To separate them, to exchange them for another nation, God forbid, it's impossible. Therefore, because it says, who is a good wife? A wife that does the will of her husband. Yesh chashivus gam lavera kala. Therefore, because of this connection, intimate connection between the Jews and every Jew and God, therefore even the smallest sin, even the smallest sin, even kodesh, this is called not doing the will of her husband. And therefore she is not a good wife. Like a man and a wife, they go to some place and the wife makes fun of her husband, or she makes something not nice. Therefore, in order to explain, that by means of every sin, a person is made totally separate. Afilu b'dvarim mutarim, move l'tzorech zez brat kitista ishta. She'eno begerer hochacha gereda. This is not a normal proof. It's also an explanation. Why is it so important that the Jewish people don't do any deviation at all from godliness? Because the soul, the animal soul, the natural soul, the body, they are all considered to be the wife of God. And who is a good wife? One who does the will of her husband. Therefore, even a small deviation is considered to be very severe. And a normal woman, will not do that to her husband. Her husband is providing everything for her. The only reason she'll do it is because if she goes crazy. The same thing every Jew will only do it if they go crazy. On the other hand, God has, yes, done a lot of very severe things to the Jewish people. The Jewish people have been through some terrible trials and tragedies, difficulties. So you can't be too hard on them. But the fact of the matter is, it's still the same. God loves us with an infinite love, and to go against that is insanity. Gimel. In this case that it's talking about, in the Torah, that a man's wife strays from the path of normalcy, it's talking about where the husband did not actually see his wife do any actual sin. All she did was act strangely. She did not actually do a sin. Her husband told her, I do not want to see you alone with this person. And she went alone with him, but no one saw her do anything wrong. There's nothing, according to the Torah, wrong with a woman being alone with a man in a room for 5 minutes, especially if her husband is there or someone is there. Maybe the door is open, who knows what. You could do it in situations in ways that a woman wouldn't be forbidden for her to be. And even if you want to say that it is forbidden, because there's all these laws of yichud. But those laws are not punishable laws. If it says a man is not supposed to be alone with a woman is not supposed to be alone with a man in a room, unless their husband is in the town, the door is open, etc. But if she does go alone, right, and she does transgress on this, it's not a punishable sin. It's a thing that she shouldn't have done. But it's not anything that you get punished for. Not according to the Torah, not according to the rabbis. If so, there's no actual sin that anyone can be witness to. And she claims she has done nothing. Nevertheless, that's called that she is acting in an improper way, tisteh. It's called she's acting like an animal. And she didn't do anything. You didn't see her do anything wrong. That's this whole law is talking about. A woman, she's only suspected of doing something wrong. Shebegalala aleh lahavi korban mimachal behema. And because her husband suspects her, and she's been acting suspiciously, that's the reason that this whole entire episode occurs. L'chor, at first glance, ain't a davar movement. It's not understood. Because you don't know, since you don't know, certainly that this woman did any sin. If so, why not suppose that she is kosher? That she didn't do anything wrong? I mean, most of her life she didn't do anything wrong. Rov banot Yisrael ksherotu, like it says, the majority of the girls of Israel are kosher. Why does she have to bring a sacrifice from the animal food? It's not because just because she put herself in a suspicious situation, this is an animal. Why? Ki eitzel banot Yisrael asur liot matzav shel chashad. One second, maybe I read this line properly. Okay, I think this word "low" is not supposed to be here. I think this is anyway. The reason is, I think the Rebbe wants to say, the reason is because just the fact that she put herself into a situation where she was suspected, taking into account that her husband is normal. But just because she made herself suspicious, that's already considered that she's lowered her level from being human to being like an animal. Even though it's true that just the fact that she has deviated from the normal, modest way that women are supposed to act, And because of that deviation, even though she hasn't done anything, she's called doing animalistic deeds. And she's also forbidden to her husband because he warned her and he caught her. She's forbidden. She can't have any relations with him until she's taken to the Beit HaMikdash and made the drink. It says there in the Gemara that therefore a husband nowadays should not warn his wife. He shouldn't warn his wife, don't go with this person. Because it could be that his warning is enough to make her forbidden if she in fact does go with this person. And there's no Beit HaMikdash, so he'll never be able to be with her again. Ein zeh rak l'sha kala bilvad. Nevertheless, it's only temporary. Shari lamaisa lo nidma. In fact, she didn't really do anything wrong. She hasn't got any witnesses she did anything wrong. She just was nistra. She just went away and was, hidden away with this person. Therefore, she's called, afterwards, if she drinks from this water, she can become pure. Like it says, v'nikta v'nizra zara. So if so, what are we talking about here? That the woman could actually be innocent, but nevertheless she has to go through the whole process. Says the Rebbe, it's the same thing with the Jews. B'shashi Israel over Avera, when a Jew does a sin, this is what you were saying before. Davar shehu b'bechinat ruach shtut, because he does it in an insane, it's only a spirit of insanity that will push him to do such a thing. Ein ze inyan shel tuma labala. She hasn't actually become defiled. Shari kavodia nitzutz elokei, the godly portion which is inside of a Jew can never be given to anyone else. So in our case, we're talking about even if a Jew actually does do a sin and actually does go away from her husband, but it's only called hiding away. It's only called hiding away. That's why this saying, a Jew will never do a sin unless comes in a spirit of insanity, the proof is given from a woman that goes astray from her husband. She doesn't actually do anything. She just went astray and was hidden. The same thing is here. A Jew can never really do a sin. All he can do is hide himself temporarily from God. Ela shalasha kala, just temporarily, he acts like an animal. That she acts like an animal. But in the end, nikta v'nizra zara. But in the end, because every Jew essentially, internally, is always pure, and they never really sinned, shekein lo yidach mimeno nidach, therefore every Jew will come back. Every Jew will be proven to be innocent. They just temporarily went crazy. I like this language. V'zeh tam nosaf lakach. This is why the shtus de l'umatzeh move is brought kistista ishto. That's why it says that a person will not do a sin unless there comes into a ruach shtut, like this woman did. In other words, it caused her only to be suspected by her husband and to separate from her husband and to hide herself from her husband. But in fact, it's only coming to explain shekol inyan ashtut, that this whole thing of being insane, causing that to make us do sins, eino inyan shel tuma. It's not that a Jew can never actually do a sin. Ela kamaisa be'em elashakala, but temporarily she thought she was an animal. And as soon as she realizes she's not an animal, she's not. And that's American jurisprudence, temporary insanity. If a person is if a person can prove temporary insanity, so the punishment is sometimes even waived. Right? Especially if he didn't really hurt anybody in the end. Let's say he went down the streets and he burned cars and he stole stuff and he cheated people. And he can give the money back. They say, why did you do it? I don't know, just something came over me and I just, temporary insanity. They can prove his temporary insanity. So they can say, okay, judge, let him make restitution and, put him in jail for a month so he has the taste of jail. But this man is essentially, already has to have psychiatric inspection so he doesn't, so he doesn't do it again, and let him go. Exactly the opposite. If he's a thief, and this is you're going to become the president of the United States. We just had a whole string of them. Hari Adam Choshev Shekayemes Metzius Mesuyames Milvad Elokus, when a person thinks that there's anything except for God, Mehava Davar Kafira Bachtuso, this constitutes denying God's oneness. Bad thing. Call Shechein, how much more so Kashiyadev Shenichshal Ba'avera the Rabbanan. How much more so if a person knows that he has done a sin from the rabbis, or a worse sin. Davar shu ruach shtus. A person can think, like it says in the Torah, Vatomer tzion azavani Hashem, Hashem shechachani. He can say, like it says in the Midrash, I left God, and God has a good reason to leave me, and He's left me. That's it. We're separated. We're divorced. Therefore it says the pasuk ki tiste ishto. Don't think so. Kishem sheisha nistara af asur labal l'shakala. If a woman that hides herself away from her husband and she is suspected, she is forbidden to her husband temporarily. Nevertheless, lo nidma chas v'shalom. We're not talking about her actually having relations with another man. A Jew can never unite with anything else. Because afterwards she will be permitted to him. Even more, and Nizra Zera, that she will be blessed. Kamayamar, like it says, Hayata Yoladas Batsar, if she gave birth to in pain, she will give birth now in easily. Nekevas, if she gave birth to females, she'll give birth to males. Even if she was barren, she will give birth to children. So what's the Rebbe saying? A Baal Tshuva is higher than a tzaddik. A Jew that was suspected by God of doing bad things, and then he repented, did good things. So this Jew is higher than if he wouldn't have done this. Not encouraging anyone to do sins, but on the other hand, everybody should understand that our closeness to God is never sufficient. You can always be closer. Also, even though that every person knows in his soul, everybody knows how much foolishness and stupidity we have inside of ourselves. You should not yipol barucho. A person should not become depressed. A person can say to himself, listen, come on, and when I was not religious, so I was far away from God, and I didn't do any of this, and I didn't do this, but now I'm doing Torah, I'm doing mitzvahs, I'm learning Chassidut, I'm a big tzaddik, I have a beard, I have this and this, and I'm still the same stinky person as I was before. I haven't changed one little bit. Maybe I'm a little older. Maybe I can hide it because I have different clothes on. And I spend most of my day doing all these religious things. But essentially, down deep, I know what's going on over here. Right? I know that it's this. So a person can think, listen, I'm lost. I can't do it. I've already done Torah, done mitzvahs, I did everything. Nothing's going to stop me. Nothing's going to help me. I'm incorrectable. Allah, that you should know, that no matter what you did, no matter how bad you are, you have never become separate from God. Shariu kavodi, because my honor I will never give to anyone else. Every Jew has a spark, a point of godliness that's inside of him, no matter what. La'achar lo etein. Ein ze ela sha'asa maisa be'ema. He just became an animal, l'shakala, temporarily. Ach sofa, but in the end, v'nikta v'nizrazar, in the end, as soon as a person says, hey, Hashem, listen, I did what I can, I think. Maybe you take over, do what you can't help me. Then Hashem said, that's all I wanted. It'll be realized, revealed, you didn't do anything. Why did you do all these sins? Why did you do all these bad things? Because that's how I made you. I made you with a Yetzer Hora. I created you with an animal soul. I created. Yasig Ava V'yira. Then you'll be able to have love and fear of God. Banim Zacharim. That's what it means, male sons. In other words, love and fear should be Yigiyato. That will come from your work. Let me see, this is the next page. Where is it? You don't have it. I didn't make copies of it because there's 2 lines. There. 2 lines. See, that's a. This is the uniting of a man and his wife. The uniting of the Jews and Hashem is always there. There will be the revelation, and after we drink the water, and it was after we examine ourselves and realize that really we haven't done anything wrong. Temporarily we were separated. And then there will be the revelation of what's called God's presence in our soul. The revelation of the inside of the soul. Shezu Biat Mashiach, which will come by means of the Biat Mashiach, Haprati, the individual Mashiach in every single person, which this is the preparation to the coming of the Mashiach in general. Because what is the idea of the Mashiach? Mashiach will realize, reveal, is going to be a human being, it'll be a person, like Abraham, like David, like Moshe, and he will reveal inside of every Jew the Judaism inside of every Jew. Rejuvenate every Jew. That was a little sort of play on words there. That's what Mashiach will do. But meanwhile, we have to do it on our own. But the fact of the matter is these words are the words of the Mashiach. It's telling us what the trick is. The trick is we have to reveal our connection to God inside of ourselves, the infinite connection that every Jew has with Hashem that can never be separated. Okay, let's do a little bit about Shvuot. Chag HaShvuot. I didn't make copies of this. You don't have it. I'm going to make copies, but we won't make copies now because there's no time. All right, so I'll say over a Sikha of the Rebbe. Let me just say a Sikha of the Rebbe. It's not here, it's in another book. When the Jews went to receive, did I tell you the thing about the Jews going to sleep? Huh? That's here? I think it's even here. The Jews went to sleep. No, here is the thing about 3. We did this, about the number 3. Why is the Torah giving us the... Okay, so we'll stop here. Let's stop here. Hello?